If doing higher talks, I should definitely look at partnering up with Lee from TableTop Bong. He he seems like he's been experiencing far longer than I have a lot of the same kind of awareness of truths of this sub reality or super reality that goes along when you are in a meditative state. So he was just talking about meditation as the term for what I was referring to as attuning to a higher frequency or attuning to grace or something like that. My terminologies for these concepts, I'm just making up, right? As inspiration flows through me, these terms come out. I'm feeling my way through. So I suppose everyone else is going to have their own interpretation of the different terminologies and mechanisms and concepts that we're trying to get out there. We're trying to unveil and understand. So Lee's terms just strike a very similar resemblance to the kind of concepts that I've been talking about. So stumbling upon someone like him and listening to a lot of his videos from over the last year on his YouTube channel, where it's just a selfie video with a bright light, often too bright, and he's just trying to stare directly into the lens, and so trying to have a direct eye kind of locking conversation with the viewers. It's a very engaging style of recording, and I think I can improve on that as well. But all of the messages that he's saying are very similar, and so if one of my ideas is to do higher talks, and should I have it as higher talk or higher talks? What will people naturally want to say? Anyway, it's good to partner up with him, I think, because we would have content coming out of our ears. And if he's willing to divulge all of this on YouTube, and just guessing, but if that's the only platform that he's decided to express this and get it out on video and get it out on into the world, in the public eye, if he's just willingly putting all that out there, then yeah, he's going to be the right one to partner with. And also, it's not gaining enough attraction. It's not gaining enough attention. I think that if you were to do a podcast and do it to today's, like 2023 and onwards, cutting edge of using whatever medium and whatever tools are available that the people are using. Because if the people are on TikTok and they've kind of migrated over from Instagram, then you go on TikTok and you speak to the people that way. And that's how you market a podcast to become really popular. And once a podcast or any YouTube channel has become very, very popular, then you are a legitimate sounding board, and you can just announce and reach and influence a whole bunch of people. And then once you've got that going, the next phase is a movement. So if ultimately, wishful thinkingly, it would be amazing if the universe started to put this together for us. But we know that we need to do the work ourselves as well. We are the vessel. We are the conduit. So we also need to strategize and put the work in, because that's our part. We need to manifest it with concept, but we need to manifest it actually physically, and then prove it and actually do it. So I think that's the goal of this route here, is to actually just walk the walk and not just talk the talk. And that is a process of really putting ourselves out there, creating a proper podcast and having a good go, and trying our best to get these incredible, amazingly inspired observations of our reality, our universe, our existence, truth. We need to get as much of that out there as possible, and for it to gain traction in the psyche of the general public. And then it's a case of everyone needs to have enough time to grow, but we need to start creating a movement along these lines, because I think if people were to think in certain ways that's well guided and well inspired, then yeah, it could definitely create that much needed counterculture to the oppressive side of control and ego, really. Whew. So yeah, the more I listen to this Lee guy, the more I'm convinced that he will definitely be someone to partner up with as either a co-host or just a regular guest to do podcasts with. But we should definitely capture this well. We should maybe look at setting each other up with a similar like video setup, so that we match the quality. And if we were to match the quality and we just record each other virtually at the same time, and then just put the video together as and so then we can just cut between the two edits of our two faces, and we can match them to whoever's talking. Kind of like a Zoom conference call, but we don't need to do it by Zoom. We could do it by Zoom. Yeah, and then that will be the video that we'll just post on every conversation. So it will look pretty high production, and it will, because we're matching the video quality and the optics and the lighting and everything like that, because we're matching them close enough, it feels like we're just in the same room. And all it is that we're just both in a dark room lit by the same light source, and we're just having a back and forth conversation facing each other, like we're on opposite ends of a 360-degree camera. It would be kind of like that. In fact, yeah. That's strange. In fact, it could be like that. It could be a 360 video, but that seems unnecessary, because the viewing experience is just weird for you to be in the middle of that. But instead, if it was set up, yeah, if this kind of virtual space of having interviews where you don't need to be physically present, but you can experience it in the metaverse, for example. But without having to go to the metaverse and have VR, if you can do it through 360 video, and so people can watch 360 video with a VR headset like that, but it's also nice to be able to watch it just on your screen, and you scroll around and actually choose where you want to look. So and zoom in and out as well, if you have zoom in and out control. If you have full feature controls with zooming in and out, choosing where to look, and also speed ramping, so you could just dial very quickly back or forth in time, and then you could also dial it in so it's very controlled and slow progressions of speed difference. I think that's all required in order to have a really good 360 video experience without having to use a headset. That's more UX, and 360 video isn't really popular right now. But if it was to be used like this, and we try and give it a really good user experience, time with YouTube, of course, if they choose to go down this route. Yeah, I could record it so that in the 360 video, it feels like the viewer is the third person. So say it's me and Lee having a conversation and we're just the only ones talking in this podcast, but we will record it, shoot it, and then edit the video together so it looks like it's from the first person. So from the viewer watching the video, it's like they are in the first person perspective of a third party person, guest in that conversation. And so it would be like a triangle, right? We'll be sitting in like a triangle formation. And so myself and Lee will be sitting kind of angled towards each other and having a conversation like that, right? Virtually, shot separately, but it'll be placed in this 360 formation as if we were on two corners of this triangle, and then the viewer is on the third point. So it's distanced and proportioned and cropped in a way that matches your field of view. And so you probably just want to maximize the field of view of one, corner of a equilateral triangle and get that as big as you can, depending on an average screen. And so you'd want to make it as zoomed in as possible, so you can see both the speakers, myself and Lee, in the full frame, the full kind of like 16:9 frame. You'd see them on both sides, but not too far, but not too small either. Anyway, that'll be interesting. And then you could watch them both at the same time, as if they're just both staring at you, which might be a bit a bit freaky if they're both just staring at the camera, but you angle them slightly, and it just looks like they're both just facing you, and it feels like they're ganging up on you. No, that's a bit weird. There needs to be that social dynamic. If you were to be there in person, the body language would be different, and you'd be looking around, and you'd be looking, at both the other people, whoever you are. You'd be looking at the other people, and so you kind of need that dynamic. Anyway, going off on one, of course. Curious thoughts, but yeah, that Lee guy. If I do end up pushing higher talks, then yeah, I definitely want to contact Lee.